Welcome to the SWBL podcast presented by 1356 Public House. And tonight I am joined by the captain of the SWBL Marlins, Eli Erikson. How you been, bud?
Not too bad. How have the podcast been going?
They've been going good, man. Just busy with them as we get closer and closer to season. It seems like I never have enough time to get them done, but they've been going out there. So yeah, be a friend, tell a friend about the podcast and listen in Spotify or YouTube. But yeah, man, everything's been going pretty good. Just ready to get to Memorial Day at this point. So
Perfect.
well, tonight, guys, we're going to be talking all Marlins shop. We're going to be talking about the roster, the division, what Eli's kind of looking at as manager and captain of the team, to follow up season 20 and start off this third decade of the league. So let's just jump into it, man. Let's jump right into the roster to start out with. Season 20, you guys ended up with your best record ever at 6-4, made the playoffs, won your first playoff game as well, and won your second Franchise of the Year award. So it was a pretty solid season 20. Just thoughts reminiscent about last season, what you remember about it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went in with moderate expectations. I think at least we all have higher expectations for ourselves than other people probably do. We did not expect another 2 or 3 win season like the previous year. Started off with getting that first W on opening day always feels great, and then you know won a couple games that I think some people probably didn't expect, and then we really got hot going on Monday. We beat the Twins, which is obviously a big win, and the Spos, and went into the playoffs and took care of the White Sox, which was great. And yeah, overall, we really competed pretty well in the championship or in the semifinals against the Orioles. A couple things didn't go our way, but really happy for the first year in the playoffs to win a game and be competitive in the next round, and looking to build on that this year.
Yeah, a lot of lessons to be had from that. Not only just making the playoffs and the experience of being in the playoffs and what that's like, but getting your first win and having that under your belt for your guys. That's a lot of it adds to more confidence. So, with an assumption, if you make it again this year or whatever you make it again, it's not going to be as foreign territory to you. So that's got to feel
Yeah.
pretty good coming into season 21, and just for your guys to say, hey, we've been here, we've done that, and now we there's no reason we can't do it again.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's football. It's a kid sport, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to stand up there in the playoffs and be nervous. You want to do well for yourself. You want to do well for your teammates, and you just want to perform to your best. So even though it's wiffle ball, you get the juices flowing, get a little nervous, and that's good to have some experience from that going into the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the roster last year consisted of yourself, Luke Bacula, Sam Rudnick, Josh Anthony, Trent Davis, Corey Poley, and Jordan Smith. And this year, the roster is the exact same. So, no new additions, no losses. With that being the case, like, what are your expectations? You said you had moderate expectations going into last season. What are your expectations this year?
Yeah, I generally I expect everyone to get better every year. Obviously I don't expect Luke and Jordan to really get any better based on how they performed last year. There's just very a couple batting average points, OPS, a couple things here and there, but really impossible with how well they played. But really, what we're looking for is Josh and Trent to take that next step pitching. They took a huge step last year. Both really solid ERAs for pitchers that pitched quite a bit, and I'm looking for like a really solid third hitter. Last year, me and Sam and Josh, for that matter, all hit about the same. I want to say it was about 450 or so for our average, which is fine for your fourth hitter, but and for last year it was fine for a third hitter when we had two guys hitting as well as they did. But generally speaking, we need a third hitter to be batting quite a bit better, closer to 550, maybe a little bit more pop and things like that. So really looking for Sam or myself to take that next step at the plate to really help us, and Josh and Trent just another year on the mound. Year two for all the pitchers with the speedometer. And just everyone getting a little bit better.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it seems like, you have a pretty clear direction, and you mentioned, your two studs from last season, both finishing in the top 10 of the top 21 countdown, Luke at 5 and Jordan at 7. Um, just outstanding years. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the top 21 review, but or a lot of guys were picking Luke. Like, of all the players who haven't won an MVP, Luke is kind of that betting favorite, if to kind of say, like, he's the guy a lot of people can see being the next guy to win their first MVP. And the guy does it all. He fields, he pitches for you every now and then. And he's hell on wheels at the plate. But to have, you've had Luke though for a couple years. Talk about adding Jordan and just how that changed last year, and then also what that's doing for the rest of your guys kind of going forward.
Yeah. So Jordan was a free agent. He had obviously just finished up with the A's, had a solid season. And I know he was interested in playing for us, and that feeling was mutual. At that point, we had only played, a couple years. We weren't very good yet. We had eclipsed Expos, but that was it. We were near the bottom. And we of course all want to get better, but we had 6 guys who, generally speaking, are there all weekend, with exception to Trent, who usually has to work the bike for a day. We're all there, so we already kind of had a big roster. So it was a decision not that I make. I just asked the teammates, if we bring in Jordan, are we willing to give up some at bats with that? Because I'm not going to bring him on to give him 4 at bats and just not play him.
Yeah.
He could play with anyone else and that sort of thing. But he's obviously our age. We're younger than most of the team, so it made sense there as well. So we rolled with it and went into the season thinking he'd probably hit 4th, 5th, 6th most on the team. But like any smart manager, just rolled with him. I mean, with him and Luke, I don't remember. The first game was outrageous what they did. I don't remember if it was the first game Saturday morning or if it was Friday afternoon, but they combined were 9 for 10 with 8 bombs or something insane. I'm like, I got to keep playing. So that took at bats from Corey, who had to leave, fly back home on Sunday, and some from me and Josh and Trent and Sam as well. Really, everybody except Luke. But as we all realized that was, I mean, we were rolling. We were always above 500 and right in the hunt. And no one complained, and everyone was willing to give up those at bats because Jordan obviously earned them.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be you sort of answered my next question, but you are one of 3 teams with 7 players. You the larger roster, I think, not the largest, but 3 teams have 7 players. A lot of teams now have 6 players, where back in the day it was 4, at most 5. So how? Just give me your approach, like 30,000-foot view of how you manage lineups, roster, playing time. Just what's your approach to that? What is your conversation with your guys in that regard? You kind of said it already when you brought Jordan in. You kind of said, hey, we're going to all have to sacrifice a little bit. But, in the midst of the season, how are you managing that many players and getting the people playing time that one, they deserve, or 2, that they want?
Yeah. With how our team operates, it's pretty easy to manage that for 6 players. And the reason I say that, we don't have one of our pitchers is our best hitter, right? Where it's, if you're not pitching, you're leading off because you're such a great hitter. So I'm able to, hey, Trent, Josh, you guys aren't going to hit as much because you're each pitching half the games, and that's, I won't take you out. It's yours to roll with. So I'm able to sacrifice some of their at bats, and give it to the other players. Obviously, we have Jordan and Luke, who are taking every at bat, playing in the field. But because Trent and Josh are pitching, we have 2 at bats then, as a DH and extra hitter, every game, to be able to get a ton of at bats. The curveball is having that seventh player, um, which our first year, we didn't have Corey. He was hurt. He had a medical procedure done, and he left early last year. So that became easier once he left. And this year, again, he's actually going to miss Saturday for a wedding. But once he's there, he's there Sunday and Monday. So it's by that point, theoretically, Sam or like there's a clear 1, 2, 3. And whoever that fourth hitter is probably going to lose some at bats to give Corey a shot, just because if you look at all our players, not counting Luke and Jordan, who had some experience in the league, everyone's gotten better every year. And just him missing that first year and being in and out last year, he just hasn't had that chance that we all did.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to have to manage that. But because, like I said earlier, we got guys who are great hitters, separate from our good pitchers, it's easy to manage playing time. I guarantee, ask Trent, he's irritated, he doesn't hit much. But, I am trying to be fair that best case, he might be this much better than Samurai, but he's pitching. So I'm really just trying to be fair at that point to keep everyone involved.
Yeah. Well, it helps motivate him too, right? It's you've already proven as a manager with Jordan and with other examples too. But hey, if you're performing, you're going to continue to get opportunity. So it does motivate them to not only improve their pitching because they want to stay in that role, but also to improve at the plate when they do get opportunities. Sometimes maybe too much pressure that they might put on themselves, but if they perform, they know they'll have confidence that they're going to continue to get to see more at bats if they're performing. So
yeah, that's always my goal. I definitely don't want someone going 5 for 5 and then throwing a hissy fit that they're not playing the next game. They should be in the lineup the next game if they went 5 for 5.
Yeah,
that's kind of the way I roll.
Nice. All right. Well, looking into the schedule, the division, you're in the Ketty Ice Centers division with the Yankees, and then you in the middle tier there, and then the Expos in the bottom tier there. So, when you were looking at that, how did you feel? I know you've been getting a lot of crap on social media about not having anyone attend from the team. You had a surrogate come in to be there for the division draw, but now that they've kind of worked out, what are your thoughts on your division? Are you happy with it? Dissatisfied with it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was disappointed with the date of the division draw, just being honest. The day he posted it, that he being Sam Skibby, I texted him. Almost our entire team was visiting Corey in Dallas. So we did have a couple guys that were in town. But like all teams, there's some guys that trying to go to everything, and some just aren't. They're there for the weekend. And just with how it worked out, the couple guys that were in town generally don't go to that sort of thing. So it sucks. I'm glad I got my wife to be able to attend. That's how much it mattered to me that we had someone there that I forcibly made my wife go for that, which she said she had a good time. But glad, really happy with how the draw went. Overall, the Expos generally are the worst team in the league. That's pretty consistent track record of that. So we get them twice, which is great. Like it's always fun to see Jimmy on the mound. If he's on, he's tough to hit. If he's off, it's batting practice. So that's always you never know how I was feeling each day. So we are excited to see them. And our other division opponent is the Yankees, correct?
Yeah.
And that was actually who we hope to see. Obviously, they're the reigning champs. They're great. But really, I mean, who are you picking between them, Orioles and the Twins? I mean, you don't want any of them. So we just really like playing them. We have the family connection with Luke and Sam, and then another family connection, Corey and his cousins, Kevin and Scott. And who doesn't enjoy playing Gus Skibby? So really, those were the two teams we wanted, and we got lucky and got them both.
Nice. So when looking at the schedule, it's out now. Do you have a game circled? Is there one game that really stands out that you're like, yep, this is the game?
Less so than in years past. Last year we were really pumped for the Friday game against the A's. They did not want Jordan back. And so that was kind of fun having Jordan face them, and also that's obviously Luke's former team. So that there's obvious connections there that we generally like to circle. Unfortunately, there's just not a ton of energy when we play them. But it's just not they're not a fun of an opponent to play versus the Yankees, who generally are probably talking smack to us, and the Expos are super loud, obnoxious. Just with that, a lot more energy in those sorts of games.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, generally, no, I don't think we have a game that we all saw and oh hell yeah, we got them, on that date or at that time or anything like that. But we do like how we started last year against the A's on Friday. We get them again, and
yeah,
I think that's a good game for us to kick off the year with.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, you kick off the season again the same way. And who knows how they're going to be feeling. They're in game 1 against the Rockies, and so, nobody really knows who's going to win that game. So if they win, they could be coming in pretty high, and if they lose, it's a long time to have to sit there and think about the loss that you've had coming in and being kind of behind the count of almost everybody else going into the regular, weekend. So, one thing during our season, our schedule release podcast we talked about was that Monday game, and Sam's done a really good job of putting division games on the Mondays. And you got the Yankees at that 9:30 slot on Monday. So, depending on how things shake out throughout the season, that could be a big game for you guys in like a playoff push again. Division, the division champ, winning the division potentially. It could come down to that last game. And so that was the note that a lot of us kind of noticed, because you seem pretty balanced overall on the schedule. You've got a gap just like everybody else, but for the most part, you don't have a huge run of difficult opponents. It's kind of broke up where, you've got your top tier teams are sort of spread out. Those teams that you're going to be, theoretically fighting for the wild cards, all of those are kind of spread out. So pretty balanced for you. And so, but we saw that 9:30 game, and that's the one, at least for me, if I was a Marlins player, I'd be looking at that.
Yeah, and so similar. We actually had a few games on Monday last year, which again I think helped us going into the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
That Yankees game, is probably going to mean something. Obviously, there's a chance we, are 2-7 and we're out of it and it won't matter. But I think we're going to be right there, right there around 500, maybe a game or two above or below. And it's really going to matter for us to solidify us into the playoffs, but it also is going to matter for the Yankees in terms of seeding. I can't imagine anyone doesn't expect them to be in the playoffs this year. And we had the Twins on Monday last year who were clearly in, but they're the 1 seed, went in the playoffs and lost, dropped to a 2 seed. Not a critical game for them, but a game they probably prefer to be the 1 seed. There's some advantages in terms of picking when you play and that sort of thing as a 1 seed that they lost out on. So the Yankees are going to come ready unless they're 9-0 and they're locked up a 1 seed or something. They're going to be ready to play. So that's always going to be exciting. And we even got the best of them a couple years ago when we just won a couple games. We played them in a morning game, and they were probably still sleepwalking a little bit. And you never know. It's always fun playing the Yankees.
Yeah, and they're a tough team to battle. So even if if you get that game and you are fighting for a spot, and if you win it, you're going to feel battle tested that same day. So pretty solid. The way, if you want to be optimistic about it, that's a good way to look at it. So, well, let me give you the 2 other divisions, and I want you to pick a winner, which I guess is, I kind of already know where you're going, but in the Cardinal Blinds division, it's the Twins, the White Sox, and the Rockies. Who are you picking there?
I'm picking the Twins.
Okay. In the Corner Pub and Grill division, it's the Orioles, the Astros, and the A's.
And I'm going to pick the Orioles there as well.
Figured that was going to be the case. Who are you picking to win your division?
I gotta say the Yankees. Honestly, it's really hard to bet against them. It's the advantage of having 4 players. They're all playing all weekend, and the advantage of having the best player in the league on your team. So I'm not gonna come out here and say we're going 8-2 and we're winning the division.
Yeah.
We got the Yankees, and that's the tough team to pass up. So
Yeah.
I'd be going Yankees.
Okay. Pick the 2 wild cards then for season 21.
So I feel like that's probably where a lot of the turnover is, because you can, almost make a case for any team to be one of those next 2 spots. I think I would for sure go us in one of those spots. And I think I would go Astros as the next spots. You guys played well last year. We were chasing you the first couple of days, and just at the end of the year, I think it was maybe Sunday afternoon, you guys just started losing your games and allowed us back into it. So a couple of things, I don't know if any of those were really close games and a call goes one way, or, a walk instead of, whatever the case is, you guys could easily snuck in. And I think that'll, having Jimmy Stout win comeback player of the year, winning the Gold Glove, or it's not called the Gold Glove. I always forget the name.
Platinum Hands. Cole won it.
Cole won that. So you guys are ready to go, and I think be more than happy to see you guys in the first round of playoffs.
Yeah. Well, let's talk power rankings real quick. Where do you think you'll get ranked, and where should you get ranked?
I think we will be ranked. I think we'll be ranked 7th, maybe. I think we will be ahead of the Expos, and I think we will be ranked ahead of either the Rockies or A's. I think we should be ranked ahead of both of them. I wouldn't push for higher than 6. Like, I definitely think 4 or 5 is where we're going to finish. But there's plenty of teams out there. I'm not going to get in the weeds on the difference between those middle pack that are going to be fighting till the end of it. But I would guess we're 7th, but I definitely think we should be 5th or 6th.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, now we're going to go into just some more fun stuff. Some of it's still wiffle ball related. Most of it is, but some of it's just fun. It's hard hitters, rapid fire edition. So just answer how you want. What is the final record for the Marlins in season 21?
The final regular season record will be 6-4.
Repeat of last year. Who is the team MVP for this season?
It's going to be Luke.
What is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Wow. Favorite movie. So I love the Harry Potter series. I'm just going to stick with Harry Potter generic. I know I'm a loser. The final part 2 is my favorite movie. I know everyone's favorites generally is the Prisoner of Azkaban. Great one, but I just like, same thing with the third Star Wars movie. When everything gets tied together, it's generally my favorite.
Did you read the books too beforehand?
Did after the facts.
Oh, okay.
As I was I wasn't a reader when I was little, but I made sure to make that up.
Nice. Okay. Who will lead the league in home runs this season?
Do you have who led it last year?
I would assume Gus did.
I assume Gus. Yeah. Man, it's really hard to pick against Gus in anything when it comes to hitting at this point. I'm gonna go with Luke. Luke's gonna have a year. I'm going with Luke.
Who's your favorite team to play against?
My favorite team is, I think I kind of mentioned it earlier, is the
Yanks.
Just great group of guys. Typically bring the energy. A lot of fun. I just like playing against guys who you can tell are super happy to be playing.
Yeah.
And even if it's the Expos who are, more on the obnoxious side of things, but they're all pumped to be there, just acting like crazies, and it's always fun to play those sorts of teams.
For sure. Favorite place to get breakfast during the weekend?
I don't know if I've ever had breakfast not at my own house or my in-laws. But if I went somewhere, it would be the Shack. That place is, I think.
It's a good one. Who will lead the league in strikeouts? And I'm not talking pitching, I'm talking hitting. Who's going to be the league leader in strikeouts at the plate?
Well, I'm gonna cheat. I'm really curious what that list looked like last year. Oh, all right. Derek Cornell, Sam Runnick, and Jimmy Nelson. I'm going Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah.
He's gonna do that. He's gonna lead the league in both versions of strikeouts, hitting
Yeah.
and.
What is the official drink of the Marlins?
Ooh, probably margarita. We don't want to spoil any surprises, but we're gonna continue to add some different elements to South Beach, and it may or may not involve margaritas this year. We're still trying to iron out the details, but we won't give too much away at this point. But based on our conversations lately, I would go with margaritas.
I love how you have a name for like your area, because forever Shantytown with the Expos was all, everything else was just common ground for everybody. And now you've got a name for your area, and it's just so great because now it can start to really, I don't know, marinate
Yeah, well, I
with
don't even
all the
know why
teams. It's so creative, it's so good.
pointing to the third base line and talking about South Beach, and I don't know what once something becomes a name or what they refer to, it's just what it is. So that's what we call it. We're South Beach.
Awesome. All right, boys' night out. What's on the agenda? Where are you taking your team?
If it's up to me, boys' night out in St. Louis will have to involve Top Golf. And whether we go to someone's house afterwards or whatever the case is, would love to play some cornhole. I very much enjoy doing things when we're going out. I'm not a big go to a bar and yell into each other's ear kind of thing. I like actually being competitive and competing, and generally all my friends do also. So whatever it is, start with some Top Golf and go play some cornhole and just make sure we're doing something while we're all having a good time.
Sweet. All right, who wins the championship this year?
I'm sticking with my same pick from last year, and I will go with the Orioles. I just feel like they got to win it at some point. They're too good to not. But
all right,
never know.
Yeah, no, I mean it's easy to pick them when you look at them. So they're a tough team, but yeah, Sam might be cursed. We'll see.
That might be the only reason. So
yeah,
pretty soon he might be a free agent. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? If he'll probably end up with his brother again though when he does that. So who knows? All right, well that's gonna do it for this episode of our Captains Podcast series. Real quick, again, I want to thank our sponsor 1356 Public House and our division sponsor for the Marlins division, Kenny Ice Center. Stay tuned for more captains interviews, our power rankings, season preview, maybe some special guest guys. Again, if you like all this content, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and until next time, we will talk to you later. See ya.